Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another Marvel Rivals video, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down 3 completely different zombie game modes that Marvel Rivals could bring in the future to bring Marvel Zombies into Rivals gameplay. With that being said, if you guys are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and help out the channel to never miss a video, because this year, I'm going to be covering a lot of Marvel Rivals content, whether it's videos like this, wish lists, or news and leaks when they drop, so make sure to hit subscribe. With that being said, I got 3 different ideas, and let's get into it. Now, I know it's a little bit early to talk about spooky stuff like zombies, and I'll probably bring this up again in October, but Marvel Zombies is a massive comic series, so big in fact they made a what if episode just focused on Marvel Zombies, and it would be awesome for cosmetics as well. This game has an awesome art style, and it has a ton of awesome skins, and this would be the perfect opportunity to give us some super cool zombified heroes and villains as skins in this game. I mean, could you imagine seeing zombified Wolverine, zombified Captain America, or Spider-Man? It would just be so cool, and the skins would go hard. But what about gameplay? The first out of the 3 different zombies modes I would want to see would be an infection mode, which would work as a dynamic player versus environment mode, where players can start as either survivors, which would be different heroes and villains as they are on the roster normally, or an infected zombified team, which would be zombified versions of these characters such as Scarlet Witch or Magneto or Wolverine, which would be really cool to see. Now, these 2 teams have 2 different goals. The survivors, which would be a team of 6 to start out with, their main goal is to survive and complete objectives like securing civilians or finding a cure while avoiding infection, or having to do this under a certain time limit. Now, this sounds easy, but the other team is this zombified version of the characters, where they have enhanced melee abilities. Maybe they have to move a little slower, or their health is a little bit lower, because the heroes need to have a fighting chance, because every time that the zombies team infects one of the survivors, that survivor now becomes part of the infected team. So although you start as a team of 6 versus 6, eventually throughout the mode, you could get down to 1 survivor versus a team of 11 zombies, which would be super scary. Now, although a lot of the characters are ranged and have like gun abilities, that's why we enhanced the melee abilities for the zombies, and maybe their bullets and stuff can do slight infection, but not too much, because that would be obviously overpowered, or we could just disable ranged abilities like that. So meanwhile, while the survivors are trying to make their way, saving civilians, finding a cure, trying to do all this, there's other zombies as well, but they are easier to kill than main, players would be with more health. So this would be really scary for survivors, but really fun for zombies too. It's like a game of tag, but in a hero shooter, which would be so unique and just very cool in a Marvel game like this. Honestly, I just really want to see all the characters in their zombified versions. Now, the second mode would be my personal favorite, and I think it has a lot of opportunity, which would be a Horde defense mode, similar to Left 4 Dead, but with Marvel character elements. This would be a 6-player cooperative gameplay mode where players defend strategic points against waves of AI-controlled zombie versions of heroes and villains and civilians. You can't have everyone be super overpowered. Now, this would have progressive difficulty with each wave. You start out in one area and you have to make your way down the line. So for example, we would be in New York as the overall, theme of the map, but we start at the Sanctum Sanctorum, where something went wrong, a spell went wrong, or a creature made it out and started infecting the Sanctum Sanctorum, and we have to fight a bunch of different, little wizards and stuff like that, and then eventually we have to fight Zombie Strange, which we have already gotten a leaked skin for, which would be really cool. So imagine fighting this version of Doctor Strange. That would be terrifying. And so that would be your boss wave, and then eventually you have to make it outside, where you have to fight a bunch of civilians and make it down the road, and you think that, let's go to Avengers Tower to get safe, and so you're making it down the road, and eventually Thor comes out of nowhere and you have to fight an overpowered Thor, which would be such a headache. And then you make it to Avengers Tower and you make it up the stairs and everything. and you think you're safe, and then you have to fight, you know, a couple more Avengers that are zombified and they're really, really strong. So this would work in different waves of difficulty, where at the end of each wave, you know, you have time to heal and get power-ups and set up different defensive structures. Now, I mentioned, you know, having to heal and get power-ups and stuff like that. So this game has healers already, but in a mode like this, having a healer character is kind of overpowered. So I think we would just need to disable anything that has to do with healing. And so that way, even healers are now more damage-based characters. So Mantis would be doing damage rather than healing the whole team, and maybe we can substitute some of those move sets just for this zombies mode. But I think that this would work definitely the best for this game. Just 6 players all having to team up together to fight zombies, making it from point to point to point. You know, could you imagine like a zombified Wakanda? That would be really cool, while having to fight a zombified boss fight Black Panther. There's just so much opportunity here. And then before each wave starts, you know, we could set up a fortification system using Stark Tech or Doctor Strange magic abilities, where you can set up magic barriers or, you know, Stark Tech barriers of different strengths. And this would be just be really cool way to fight a lot of different zombies and really practice your aim as well. I mean, I know that the practice mode is kind of lackluster in this game right now, so adding a mode like this would actually be really fun to be able to kind of test out different combos with the characters and test out your headshots and just kind of do all types of different stuff to these characters that don't really mean that much. You know, these are just mini characters until it comes to those big boss wave characters, which zombified, just any zombified characters in this game that are boss level would just be super, super cool. The third and final zombies mode I would want to see is Earth 2149 Survival, a round-based defense game similar to Call of Duty Zombies, where players must defend, unlock new areas, and upgrade their powers while fighting increasingly difficult hordes of zombie heroes and villains. Now, this would be a ton of fun, but very chaotic. This is a little bit different than the last one where you're trying to make it from point to point. You are kind of doing that in this as well, but this works in rounds, and these rounds could go on for literally hours of gameplay depending on how good your team is. Now, this mode, we could actually incorporate some healers a little bit, with maybe not letting them be as strong as they are right now. But this way, the players can just play as long as they can survive. But this would be different, where you're not playing against, you know, other players. This is strictly player versus AI based, full of different zombie characters just fighting their way through, and you have to board up, you know, different doors and stuff like this. There would be round based progression, you know, getting more and more difficult, where every certain amount of rounds a boss will come out. You know, you're gonna have to fight zombified Tony Stark or zombified Venom, which would be super cool. Venom's already kind of scary. I didn't even think about that, but zombified Venom would just be super terrifying. There would be a point system for online, you know, leaderboards and stuff like that. One thing that Marvel Rivals could do to add more progression to a game mode like this is starting your character off with only one move, your primary fire, and making the player upgrade your move set as you play more rounds. You know, as you get more rounds, you earn more points, and then you can spend those points upgrading your character, kind of like a tycoon game, but for your character's move set. That way, you know, you're not starting off with all of, you know, Moon Knight's abilities. You can only start off with your primary fire, and then you have to work your way up to that full kit of abilities. Otherwise, you'd just be overpowered at the beginning, and so you might as well just start at round, you know, 55 or something like that. That just makes no sense. So adding progression through the moveset would be the best way to make the first few rounds actually scary, because you can't do that much anyway. If they wanted to add something like a Pack-a-Punch style power-up station, they could do so, but honestly, you know, adding extra abilities to these characters would require a lot of work for the, you know, developers. So they could just add, you know, damage boosts or increase your health or something like that. But what's important also is that when your character is getting attacked, you know, you don't want your teammate to become a zombie. So once they reach a certain level of infectionness to them, I don't know what the word would be, you know, if there's like a virus bar or something like that, once they become so infected, now your teammates have to go revive you somehow, which would be really, really stressful, but that's kind of the whole point of a zombies mode like this. Those were the 3 main things that I came up with for a zombies mode in Marvel Rivals. I want to know what you guys think though down below in the comments. Do you guys think that Marvel Rivals should add a Marvel Zombies mode, and which mode would you want to see? Would you want to see one of these 3 modes, or would you think of something completely different? Let me know down below in the comments, because I love hearing what the community has to say about this stuff. Like I said, it's kind of early to talk about spooky stuff, but dude, October isn't for 10 months, and Halloween's my favorite holiday, so I have to talk about it early. With that being said though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, and if you guys like videos like this, make sure to hit subscribe. I'll be covering a lot of Marvel Rivals content this year, and it's just an exciting time for this channel and Marvel Rivals. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I can't wait to share more stuff. So if you guys don't want to miss a video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have fun, be respectful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.